10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Yo, yo, yo. Slim Shady, what's up? No, this wrong show. Okay, what's up, everybody? This is Competition Plus Power Hour, and we're kicking it off here. Man, we're taking this show to a new level. So first things I need you guys to do, before we bring on my brother from another mother, my partner, that I'm going to yak it up about drag racing with, I'd like for you guys to like, share, and tag a friend that needs to watch this show. Get them on here to the Competition Plus Power Hour because, man, this show has now got a Hall of Fame inductee on it. Like, I mean, this show is going to new levels, but I'm not the only one that's going to be yakking it up here tonight. There's some guy, I call him my brother from another mother. He is the known worldwide for his beard and his Oakley shades, and that is none other than Lee, the Monday Morning Racer. Lee, what's up, man?
Oh, Sam, wow, doing great. And once again, great to get to talk about some drag racing. Drag racing happened this weekend in a big-time way. And this year, they got it in all the way. We got a winner declared in a bunch of different classes. So that is good that drag racing is well underway. I see teams rolling out for testing individually, privately. Though there doesn't seem to be any protesting happening this year, PRO in like capital letters. Yes, protesting is happening, but not protesting. You get kind of confusing there.
Well,
occasionally
there is some protesting,
but yeah, but not protesting. But it is protesting.
I know what you're talking about because I was gonna grab my card that has pro on it, but yeah,
right. So,
but Lee, in other news, what'd you think? What'd you think about the race that just happened down in Bradenton?
Well, I was not able to watch any on Flow Racing, but in keeping up with the press releases and posting them over the weekend, I feel like we've had a very competitive field in the event. You look at provisional number one qualifier was different from the ultimate number one qualifier. And then race day comes along, and there are people in the final round that I'm not saying I didn't expect. There was one name that I had not heard before. Obviously, had heard of Ken's name before, and he can definitely get it done. He does it regularly in many different types of drag cars. But it looks like down there for this event in particular that it was probably very hard to pick who was going to be that eventual winner in the field. So I think everybody got a good show. It sounds like it was a spectacular show. Oh,
and then too, Lee.
Already.
Oh. Lee, you're not supposed to be hitting bubbles already.
All right, man. Slam that one already, yes.
You got another one, I hope, right?
I don't. I'm out.
Well, you might have to take a break, refill, and we can come back.
That's right.
You know,
right.
I mean, that's important things.
QT come back, have it filled up, ready to go. This hour brought to you by QT.
Yeah, like, I mean, most people don't realize, like, that's important, to have, that's like filling a nitrous bottle. I mean, you got to remember to do that before a show, right?
Right, you got to have something.
Going back to talking about this race, but there was a lot of like passes. I mean, 101 down lows, speeds, just a lot of different things where it was like, wow. Like, I mean, for a race early in, what are we in, February? No, we're in January. Look, I'm already a day ahead, but early in January to have these guys and girls out there, with the names of Melanie Salemi and things like that out there, just throwing down passes and, really just making you realize that there is no off season for these guys and girls. I mean, they're right back into it. And I think it set us up to, what's rapidly approaching. We've talked about it a couple of times on this show, but the World Series of Pro Mod. I mean, I think Pro Mod had a great showing. And then there's some classes when you look at them and you see the rules and the rule changes and people talking about this amongst themselves, racers as they do, is some of these classes are very parallel to another class. So do we see, in different series classes, maybe combining or, dropping one class and making it, a fuller field in another class? So brought up a lot of questions for me.
I can see that. And I do believe that, when you talk about like combining classes, for example, one brand that I think could not do that. Well, I don't want to say could not do that. Puts it on the plane of like never and never say never. I don't think it would behoove them, though, to do it. Would be the PDRA. I don't think it is conducive for them to say, hey, let's combine Pro Nitrous and let's combine Pro Boost, because they have such competitive fields in both categories. And they're really the only one doing it like that. And they have their cars show up to events like the Snowbirds, the U.S. Street Nationals, now the upcoming World Series of Pro Mod, and those cars can compete on that equal field level. And many of them from Pro Boost or Pro Nitrous do go out there and win, representatives such as Melanie Salemi and also Jim Halsey. I would argue, it would be interesting, go back like the last 5 years, and what series of Outlaw Pro Mod, if you want to dub it as that, the 8th Mile World, what series actually has the most wins in these types of races that are standalone events at significant tracks, such as the U.S. Street Nationals, the Snowbird Nationals, the Yellow Bullet Nationals, and others around the country? I would argue it would not shock me that the PDRA would be leading the way. Sam. Uh-oh. We're having technical difficulties. Well, as my co-host is there frozen, going to let him sit by. Hopefully we'll get him back in just a few moments. Don Moore says, I watched it on Flow Racing. Awesome race. Well, that's good to hear, Don. Everything that I saw, again, from the press releases as they were rolling out, it seemed that it was just that, a good race. Provisional number one qualifier was different from the eventual number one qualifier, and then rolling into race day, you have a winner in, again, someone very capable, obviously, that can win, but I'm not sure it was high on the list of people picking to get the win. Certainly, Ken can go out there and do it, though, as he's proved. He proves it in many other drag racing vehicles. But I'm just glad that this year they're able to get the event in. If you remember last year, it was so cold. They got a bitter cold snap for that area of Florida. They were not able to complete the U.S. Street Nationals and moved on. So I'm glad for the track. I'm glad for Victor Alvarez and everyone down there and the competitors that they were able to get a race in. And, hey, until the World Series of Pro Mod, Ken has definitely got bragging rights over Pro Mod World, that he's the top dog in this very moment. So looked like, and I'm glad that Don's reporting that it was an awesome race. It was a competitive race. That is good to see. I'm curious, did anyone else happen to watch any other drag racing out there in our world? Maybe you were able to tune in on the Australian drag racing that has been going on. And that's why tonight we've got Larry Dixon on later. He's actually going to be our first guest, Larry Dixon Jr. He's been back behind the wheel of a top field dragster down there in Australia. We're going to be chatting with him in about 15 minutes, give or take. And I hope also that we're able to hear from him more news concerning 2023 in the United States of America. Will Will Smith be piloting his hot rod once again? Will we see Larry Dixon back behind the wheel in competitive form in the United States of America? Or what is going to be happening with that two-seater in the United States of America? And maybe you could purchase a ride and experience what it's like to be in a top fuel dragster. And then Davies continues to lead the way for Factory Stock Showdown, and he has put in his own money and marketed on the World Series of Pro Mod Factory Stock, adding them to the card in what effectively I think at this point should be called like World Door Slammer Nationals 3.0, because it seems like they've got everything down there that is a door car. Isn't that right, Sam?
Man, I don't know what happened. These freezing cold temperatures in North Dakota, really, we literally just had like a just blackout for like 4 seconds. Thanks, Mr. Flyer, MP Flyer or whatever.
Hey, whoa,
But yeah,
whoa.
no, he's right.
That's Mr.
Totally
PF
just
Flyer.
Texas
Mr.
is getting
PF
cold,
Flyer.
and they're getting that cold weather.
You're right. It's Mr. It's right there. By the way, do you have the shoes? Do you have PF Flyers? You got to let me know. Put it in the comment section, Mister.
I used to have a pair of those, Lee.
Well, you know who did have them, right?
Those PF Flyers are like mild, like 2008, 2009, about 2010. They rolled out quick, like they were like in, out, and like way out. Darren, you know who I'd be surprised that probably still has a pair? Darren. He probably still wears them.
Hey, look,
Darren's
man,
probably somebody that has a pair.
I feel like PF Flyers should always be trending because Jet Rodriguez wore PF Flyers in The Sandlot, and that's a cool movie. That's like almost the perfect movie. Yes.
That's because he couldn't afford. That's because he couldn't wear Chuck Taylors, the good old Chucks.
Look,
Converse.
like Art said, those shoes made me run faster, and if it wasn't for those shoes, the Jet might not have had enough jets to outrun the Beast.
No shoes make you run faster. Everyone knows that. When a guy takes off his shoes and runs barefooted or in his socks, he's fast. He's real fast.
Yeah, I agree. And now, hey, we got Darren Williams Jr. to bring on. I don't know what he's on for. I haven't been notified, but we're going to bring him on anyway here in just a few moments after the break. And when we bring him on, how about we do this very quickly? Best drag racing movie. There's not a lot of them, but let's throw out their best drag racing movie since we just mentioned The Sandlot. And everybody in the comment section, throw out your best drag racing movie. And nobody say Ricky Bobby, because that's not drag racing. Don't you say it. We're going to take a break. All of this brought to you by Weldon High Performance. They pump the show up. And if you need a pump for your high performance application, Weldon High Performance is certainly the pump that you want to get. Boom! Darren Williams Jr., American Hot Rod Entertainment, assistant editor for Competition Plus on the show. Slammin' Sam, as always, here, Competition Plus Power Hour. Drag Racing Central, let's start here. It says Fast and the Furious. No, we're not considering that drag racing. Get out. Out. No, we'll, other than the, stealing from the truck driver, we'll allow it. So, Darren, man, how's it going? Your top drag racing movie.
Top drag racing movie. So probably not the top, but my personal favorite is Right on Track. I mean, from when I was a little kid watching that, whenever that came on Disney Channel when I was a kid, I used to love watching it. Erica Enders, her sister Courtney, Gunmouth, Pennzoil sponsorships, man, that was a great movie. And man, still to this day, I have Disney Plus, and whenever I can get over to watch it, I will. That was a great movie.
Okay, right on track.
Right on track.
We've got some saying 2-lane blacktop, and Art says 2-lane blacktop. Mr. Turley, or Miss Turley, excuse me, says adrenaline. I'm not sure. I don't know that one. I'll have to go check that one out. I'm surprised no one has said my favorite, Heart Like a Wheel. No one has said that yet. I think one of the quintessential drag racing movies is actually pretty good, I think.
You know what, though? And nothing against drag racing movies, but like I've always liked, other, motorsports type movies like Driven. Have you seen Driven? Back in the day, I came out in like 01 or 02 or something like that.
You talking about with Sylvester Stallone?
Sylvester Stallone. Even though it was a terrible movie, but I just love that movie because I watched it as a kid. Days of Thunder, obviously is a good one. But I mean, you say not to say it, but Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights. That was still today, man. It's amazing. Man. Talladega Nights.
When it does come to motorsports movies overall, I think one of the top ones of the modern day, at least, is Rush, the film with James Hunt and Niki Lauda, and that season. I can't remember 1970 something, and Lauda, having the issues he had at the ring and being burned in the fight for the championship. And it's more than just a motorsports film. It's really, I feel it's a man film. You've got these two people who just want to beat the snot out of each other competitively, yet there's tremendous respect. And I like what it showcased and how it was showcased around F1 in the story there. So really enjoyed Rush. We need?
Ford versus Ferrari too was really good.
Yes, Ford versus Ferrari. Yes, another one, very good one. It was well done. Look, I think we need more drag racing films. I think. And I think someone like, the John Force story, I think, would make a great drag racing film. Sam, what?
Gary,
Time. Okay.
You're muted.
Sam.
That's Lee that can... No, come on, Darren. You got to, squeeze the bottle and, He's so proper. All right. No one say it right on track. We have to say that movie.
No. I did say right on track.
Yeah, Darren did.
I said right on track. Yeah.
Well, I didn't hear you.
Oh.
So. Adrenaline, right on track. Adrenaline, right on track. Senior moment. I only remember that because my dad watched it. Does anyone? Someone in the comments has to remember Senior Moment.
Senior Moment.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Also, nobody has mentioned Snake and Mongoose.
It was a good movie, but I wouldn't say it was my favorite movie.
It was good. It was
good. It was a good movie.
Was it a cinematic masterpiece? No, but did it tell? I think the story well. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Senior Moment. I'm not familiar with that. It's about it's not really a drag racing movie, but the guy is a NASA guy, but he's a car guy also. So
I'll have to go look that up. Art mentions American Graffiti. Yes, that is Americana movie on Americana by the great George Lucas.
Yeah, I don't know if you can really see that all too well, but yeah, Senior Moment.
Nice.
It's basically short thing is he's a NASA guy and he's drag racing his car around Southern California and gets pulled over, and just two guys, it's it's more of a hot rod movie, but my dad watched it, so whatever.
All right. Okay, cool. People, put it on the list. Senior Moment. Darren Williams Jr. I didn't get the memo on why you're here. So why are you here?
So Bobby has to be in Gainesville for testing. He leaves, I believe, at 4 a.m. So he asked me to come on and fill in for him. Before I got a little bit of news. Obviously, got to talk about nostalgia first. But before I do that, got to talk about your guest tonight, Larry Dixon. When it comes to top fuel drivers, Joe Amato and Larry Dixon, those are my two of my favorite top fuel drivers of all time. So excited to hear what you guys hear your guys' conversation with him here today. You think about Larry Dixon, I mean, still the second winningest top fuel driver of all time, 3 top fuel championships, obviously one of the best. But I feel like Dixon was always like the quote unquote like prototype top fuel driver you always wanted to see. I mean, he was good looking, could actually drive a race car, good with sponsors, handled himself well. I mean, Larry Dixon was everything you wanted in a top fuel driver, and so that's why he was always one of my favorite. And then when he was with LaHaye back in those days, winning all those championships and that Miller Lite top fuel dragster, man, those are the days, man.
That was a cool pairing. You've got Dick LaHaye, as great of a drag racer as he was, and tuner with Larry Dixon. And Larry Dixon has his own coolness to him. Like, he doesn't even have to try it. He's just got it. Like, he's got great hair. He's just Larry is just cool, okay? And paired underneath the ownership of the snake. That was trifecta in drag racing.
And let's not forget, during his prime, I mean, he's going at it with Kenny Bernstein, Miller Lite versus Budweiser, Battle of the Beer Wagons back in those days. I mean, and obviously Brandon took over and it still went on until he got hurt and stuff like that. But those early 2000 battles between the Battle of the Beer Wagons, Miller and Bud, those are the days, man.
I agree. And, I miss in drag race, not just drag racing, but I miss, it seems like overall in motorsports right now, that you don't get the battles between brands, no matter what they are. At one time we had battles between the burger houses. At one time we had the battle between the beer wagons. We had battles between UPS and FedEx. I want brands of the similar nature battling it out on the racetrack. I want to see that.
And you remember
the other ones that you see now today. The ones that you see now today are more tool companies. You have Matco, you have Snap-on, you have Mac Tools. I mean, you should have seen the looks in Indy. I got a hat from the Snap-on guy just because I thought it was a cool design, right? It was a prototype hat that they had. And Antron and the boys down there stomped me out for wearing that. And then I didn't even think about it. So we all went on to eat later that night. And I'm wearing a Mac Tools, right? Not Matco Tools, but the Mac Tool guy was at the shop like the week before and dropped me off a hoodie. He's like, hey, man, you need to wear a Mac hoodie. And so I was like, okay, it's free, whatever. It's a cool design. And I wore that out that night. And they're like, if we see you in anything else this weekend, I'm like, hey, I wear what's given to me, okay? But, I mean, I think, yeah, it'd be cool just to go back. I mean, even the energy drink, I think we see more of that. Like, you've got Leah with the sparkling ice water, and then you've got Monster Energy, obviously, I mean, but like you said, there's no burgers, there's no tobacco companies, there's no liquor companies anymore. And I think those are back in the heydays.
You remember the 92 Olympics when the Dream Team went over for the Olympics and their jerseys were Reebok, and obviously Michael Jordan was always Nike. So he covered the Reebok logo. It was either Reebok or Adidas. He covered the logo of the jersey because Nike. Year. And so during the Budweiser shootout days, when they went around and put on the Budweiser hat, Larry Dixon would either wear his backwards or flip up the cap so you couldn't see the Budweiser logo. And I always thought that was so cool, like sticking the Budweiser. Like, even though you're sponsoring this race, I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt to put your name out there and show off your name. I'm still Miller Lite all day, so I used to love that.
No, very cool.
Well,
very cool.
I mean, we even saw it with the Mellow Yellow. Let's be honest. Yeah. I mean, for how long was Mellow Yellow a part of NHRA? And you'd see and then right next to him would be a thing of Monster. It's like, I mean, you play the cards that you're dealt. And I mean, of course you do it. Like you mentioned Jordan, you mentioned Larry there. You do what you have to do. I mean, you look at every sport, there's, especially like in college right now, there's kids getting NIL deals, right? That are sponsored by Nike. Like my little brother, he has a deal where he can wear all Nike stuff, but the school is Under Armour. So what do? You know what I mean? Like, you make everybody happy. So I mean, I don't know. And then John mentions here in the comments that, we're seeing the auto parts stores. I mean, yeah, we used to have, Pep Boys, Vance Auto, O'Reilly's. I would like to see that again, like who's going to win this week? If the O'Reilly's teams, you get, that'd be cool, right? O'Reilly's wins on Sunday. Everyone gets, you get the typical Alan Reinhart as he does for Tasca and the Ford company. Well, you get 50 cents off of a new Ford if you buy one this week. I mean, it'd be cool. Coffee companies, I don't know. I don't think you're going to get Starbucks out in drag racing.
Not Starbucks, but you do have artisan coffee. You do have the fire department coffee. So, like the people selling coffee directly, they seem to believe there is marketability in drag racing. And I will say, we also are dealing with a situation where, like the auto parts stores, Parts Plus is with Clay, but it's not just the Parts Plus dragster. Because we're in such a cooperative marketing platform in motorsports now, it's hard to really look at a car and go, oh, that is the Parts Plus car. That is the Advanced Auto Parts car. And you get that battle because you've got other brands on the car competing with the other car in the other lane as well. And who do you go with? Because sometimes it's not just, not all associate sponsors are on the same level playing field, but yet they have similar size decals. It's weird out there. It's not like it was where you had just Miller and just Budweiser and just Motorcraft and just whatever the brand may be.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen that a lot in NASCAR. I mean, every week they have a different sponsor on the car, and that trend is starting to come down to drag racing. So it's happening all overall in motorsports now.
For sure. You mentioned nostalgia, Darren, yes. But should you have mentioned nostalgia?
I think so. There's some pretty big news coming out. Obviously, we're about a little over a month away from the 65th edition of the March Meet, one of the biggest independent drag races in the world, 65 years. And I'll tell you what, it was just announced on my show, Kings of the Sport, 2 weeks ago, that they're going to have the biggest purse in March Meet history, $60,000 purse, $10,000 to the winner, $5,000 to the runner-up. And we got to thank the sponsors for this, Custom Floaters, and actually Planet Fitness as well. Planet Fitness has stepped up to help the purse for the March Meet. So got to thank them, and got to thank Blake Bowser for putting this on. We're going to have this for the first time, I believe, since 2012 or 2014, the first 16-car field for Top Fuel out at the March Meet. We're going to have most likely over 20 funny cars again. So come out and enjoy. It's going to be a fun time at the March Meet. And I mean, legends are going to be out there. And also, too, one of the voices of the March Meet, Donnie Couch, Mike English, Donnie Couch. As you guys all know, Donnie Couch used to run with Don Perdome and Tommy Kuhn back in the day. He's ran with Dan Pastorini, Eddie Hill, a lot of other, legends within the sport. He actually be crew chiefing at the March Meet as well, crew chiefing for Ali Stafford. If you guys all know, Ali Stafford is James Day's wife. She'll be driving Mark Bergeron's rear engine top fuel dragster. So not only will we have front engine top fuel dragster at the March Meet, but we'll also have rear engine top fuel dragster. Remember those days, when Gary Beck and Kelly Brown and Rob Bruins were racing top fuel when Garland decided to put the engine behind the dragster? We'll have that era of top fuel dragsters out the March Meet as well. So a lot to look forward to.
Nice. Yes. And that's why it being the 65th, that huge purse, March Meet is on my calendar.
Gotta get out here, man. Gotta get out here.
It is a bucket list race. You've got to get to March Meet. If you are in drag racing, if you love drag racing, it is a must. There are musts out there such as U.S. Nationals, March Meet, World Series of Drag Racing at Cordova. I think Chris Graves' Funny Car Chaos with the Classic at the Motorplex is becoming that type of race as well. There are certain events that you have got to get to, and March Meet is certainly at the top.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys want, tomorrow night, Kings of the Sport, episode 5, special guest, Blake Bowser, track operator for Formosa Dragster, will be on. He'll be our first guest. And then second, the owner and crew chief of the Champion Speed Shop Top Fuel Dragster, Bob McClendon. He'll be on after that. So if you guys want to come out and hang out tomorrow night on Competition Plus TV at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern.
Very cool, very cool. And that Champion Speed Shop car, man, is that
beautiful,
that is a beautiful machine.
Yeah. That's the car. That Champion Speed Shop's car with the canopy and everything like that, when it was red, that car and then the Nitro Thunder car that Dusty Green drove are the two cars that really got me into nostalgia top fuel. So really cool cars, man. And don't sleep on Funny Car either. Funny Car, man, they're cool. They're cool. And fuel altered.
It's all there. It's all there.
All there.
So Darren, for you, you got to spend some time with Bobby there last week, as we saw on the show.
Yeah.
Break that down. How was that experience for you guys, and what did you get out of going to those meetings there with Bobby?
Man, that was a great. I got to thank Bobby Bennett first off for allowing me to go there. So basically, it was the NPMC meeting. SEMA and PR, the ones who post the SEMA PRI shows, we're hosting this as well. And basically, he said this before, it was 30 meetings in 30 days. And basically, we met with different companies like Holley, Hypertech, so many other companies for 30 minutes, and basically just pitch on how we can help get their parts and pieces out to the general public. And we're saying, like, yeah, we're a drag racing company and we're a drag racing magazine. We mostly deal with big time drag racing, but the fans, the audience of Competition Plus, they have hot rods. They buy these, these parts and pieces that these companies are trying to push. So it was all around just a great event. Brian Loans was there. Crystal Baldwin was there. We met with companies like FTI. It was just all around great event. And then it was mostly a networking event also, trying to network and get your name out there, meet other people within the industry. Super cool. So I got to thank Bobby Bennett for allowing me to come do that. And looking forward now. But now I know what you mean, Lee, when you say I got to get the PRI or SEMA, because it's a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. You meet people, deals happen, conversations are made. You got to do it. And my plan, I've got a plan to be at a Charlotte Racers Expo this weekend. And in about 2 weeks' time, there is the Greensboro Drag Racing Expo and Car Show put on by the Shriners in Greensboro. And I plan on being there. And mentioning that, I think I was hoping he'd be on tonight, but he's not on. We've got to do some congratulations to Bobby Bennett and all the hard work that he has put in. He is up for an award at the 2023 North Carolina Drag Racing Hall of Fame inductees ceremony. He is going to be receiving the Jeff Bird Award. Bobby Bennett will be receiving that. A great lineup of people going into the North Carolina Drag Racing Hall of Fame, though. Look at that. Jay Turner, Todd Tutterow, Quayne Stott, Shirley Muldowney. I mean, wow.
Can't hear you, Sam.
Yeah, okay. Sam. What?
I don't know who keeps muting me, and I don't know why, but oh well, let's drink to it.
I just gotta say real quick though, like for Bobby Bennett, man, like he's been in this since he was 13 years old. He's always had the eye of the tiger. Like he's loved this sport, and so this award is greatly deserved. And for him to to see us three, you Lee Craft, you Slam and Sam, and me, just knowing that we've had that same passion of bringing us on this platform, can't thank Bobby Bennett enough.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's definitely one of those things, like you said there. But when you look at those names, Todd Tutterow, Quayne Stott, right? Shirley Muldowney, like, and then you think like, when we were young pups, and they still call us young pups, but when we were looking at this and looking from the outside in, we're like, man, like what would I do if I ever got to meet those people, right? Or the first time you meet, like one of our guests here tonight, Larry Dixon, you're like, oh my God, like, I remember going to one of my first races and seeing him, like, wow, like that's him, and then now you're sitting, we talked to him at PRI. I walked up to him. I'm like, hey, you want to come on our show later? And he's like, yeah, sure. I don't care. I ain't doing anything. I think he was drinking some kind of tea or something. I was giving him crap about that. But I mean, it's just one of those things where you never know who you meet. And like you said, networking, you meet Bobby Bennett. Now we're sitting here talking to Hall of Famers of this sport week in and week out. We're getting to travel and see stuff. And then two, for you, Darren, you coming to PRI, Lee and I are going to say sorry in advance because you will be dancing with robots. it just seems to happen.
I saw that.
What do you mean? Hold on, time out, Paul. You saw that?
I saw there was a robot there. Yeah, I saw videos. Yeah.
Okay. Lee, see, anything you want to find out, you just ask Lee because he's got a video of something, or he puts pictures up of a car or something.
Yep.
Hey, Lee, I might not be in ownership of that car anymore. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, thanks to
Good
you.
enough deal.
Secret got out.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not a
Okay.
good deal because the secret got out. So hey,
Oh.
everyone in this world, if you want to know a secret, don't send a picture to Lee.
No, see, you didn't say. You just said, "Hey guys, here we go." Okay, hey. Darren, very quickly,
What's
we
the
got to
first
get
rule?
Larry.
What's the first rule in Fight Club? Exactly. Don't.
So, very quickly, Darren, we got to get Larry on. Look, you're more than welcome to stay when we do bring Larry Dixon on and chat with him. The latest production of American Hot Rod Entertainment on Competition Plus TV, the YouTube channel for Competition Plus. What is it? What can people expect?
The one I'm working on now, or the one that just dropped?
Just dropped. It's hot.
Oh, so obviously the first one was Eddie Hill in 1988, one of the most amazing seasons in drag racing history, first into the floors. But it was also the year where Eddie Hill got his first win, and the first year was Super Shops and Pennzoil. So that was a great video. The second video that dropped was John Force's Gold Car from 1988. You guys seen it in my other studio. I have the diecast of John Force's Gold Car, one of my favorite paint schemes of all time. And then the last video that just dropped, actually, which was Monday, was Pat Austin's redemption from the U.S. Nationals. If you guys all know, 1991, Pat Austin, first race at Top Fuel at the U.S. Nationals, made it all the way to the final round, was trying to do the double up, but banged the blower in the final round against Kenny Bernstein. Heartbreaking, embarrassing loss for Pat Austin. Well, he gets the double up at Topeka, actually does the double up again in Phoenix in 92, but then 1993, the U.S. Nationals, he gets his redemption. Not only does he get his redemption, he beats Doug Herbert in the final round on a pedal fest. 2 years later, he gets it done, and John Force won that race too, so an all-Castro double up at the U.S. Nationals in 1993. Next video coming up soon, probably not this Monday, but how the New York Yankees came into drag racing. Mike Dunn, Darryl Gwynn, George Steinbrenner, Hank Steinbrenner, and all that drama coming soon to Competition Plus TV. Stay tuned.
I like it. Good work, man. We're going to take a break and bring on Larry Dixon Jr.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
Larry Dixon, man, always good to see you.
Hey, glad to be seen. Yeah, appreciate you guys wanting me on your show.
Awesome. Good to have you, man. I always tell people, I'm like, hey, it's better than being viewed.
Rick Fisher Honda. He says that a lot. Rather be seen than viewed. Yeah. So, how are you guys?
So, Larry, since the last,
Good.
We're doing. I think we're doing good. Larry, I have a question. You've had this career that you've had in drag racing. So, is there an unwritten rule in drag racing? Like, if you send a picture of your car or something that you're working on, do you keep that a secret, or is that like, does everyone get to find out about that?
I don't. What do you?
So last week
like
I sent
if you
Lee.
like if you have like if you're building a like a 2-seat car or something like that in your shop, and there's only a few people that know about it, but then the world doesn't know about it. I mean, what?
Yeah.
Give me some examples.
So like what happened? I sent Bobby Bennett and Lee a picture of my let's just say a grudge car that I'm building. And sent them the picture and said, hey, the car is going to its new home. Well, then Lee puts the picture up on the page last week, so everyone can see. So is there like an unwritten rule in drag racing that you do like you don't do that, or what's the rules there?
I think that would be what's the term off the record? Like if you're sending stuff out and you want it to be on the down low or something, I guess probably needs that to. I don't think there's anything that's unwritten or written, but yeah, you could say, hey, kind of keep it on the down low, and then if they still dump in the grease, or then then now you know.
Y'all keep talking. I'm gonna go back and find that text and see if there was anything off the record.
Hey, if you ask the champ that kind of question, he's got to give you the rules to the, he knows the rules to the rule book.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Old Beauty headed to get finished. Photo. Nothing.
If you didn't tell him to keep it on the download, then.
Damn it, Larry! Come on.
Well, you're press. You should know this. What do you mean? Yeah.
See, Larry knows. Larry knows. See.
I'm putting a new signature on every text that says not immediate release.
Confidential. Wow, man. Larry,
all right.
Where are you at? Are you still down in Australia? Have you got back to the States? What's going on?
Okay, so I got back from where am I at now? Normally I got a great backdrop for you. I don't have any kind of backdrop for you this time. I've got I've got the hotel room. I'm in Gainesville, Florida. I flew home Monday. Got home Monday night from Australia at 9:30 at night. I went home. I did a couple loads of laundry. I took what I needed out of the bag and put what I needed in the bag, and then left for the airport at 9:30 this morning. And now I'm in Gainesville, and we're running our Top Fuel car here for the next couple days, upgrading a guy's license for Frank Hawley. I left you speechless. I'm impressed.
Darren, go ahead and take a question.
Yeah. So first off, how's it going, Larry? Bobby Bennett says that you can watch 3 movies on the airplane and still have 8 hours left to go to get to Australia. That's how far the plane ride is going to Australia. But is that true?
Well, okay. So we connect in LAX. There was a 3-hour layover on the way there. Enough time that I took a cab and went to In-N-Out Burger and got drive-through, did that, and then they took me right back to the airport and got my food. But the flight down there was just over 14 hours, nonstop from LA to Sydney. On the way home, got the wind on your side, so it's 12 hours back to LAX. So you can watch quite a few movies. I watched one of the movies I watch both ways because I enjoy, and it gives my gal, she gives me a hard time because if I see a movie and I like a movie, I'll watch it again because I like it. So it just so happened they had American Graffiti, so I got to watch it on the way down and on the way back. I watched a ton of movies. You can watch a movie, take a nap, watch a movie, take another nap, watch a movie, take a nap, and still have time to watch another movie. So yeah, it's you definitely get caught up. And then on both ways this time, normally you have Wi-Fi so you can kind of communicate with the world, and there was no Wi-Fi either way, so you're up there watching movies, not communicating. So it's kind of like the old days.
Well, tell us how your weekend was out in Australia. I mean, just kind of like how you did. I believe you posted a picture on social media saying that you finished third, and just kind of tell us overall how the weekend went, and just like kind of like the vibe of racing Top Fuel in Australia aside from the States.
The cool thing I think about racing, like guys like Formula One, besides their paychecks, because that would probably be pretty cool too. Like if you don't win the race, you still have a chance. Oh, I still got on the podium, like you finished in the top 3. So yeah, we got a third. So I ended up Peter Ziveris won the race. He beat Phil Reed in their final, the A final. So that was first and second place. I was in the B final against Wayne Newby, and ended up beating him. So yeah, I got a third. I said I told the guys when we got back to the pit, I said I'd done something I've been racing for a really long time, and I've done something today, meaning Saturday, that I've never done in my 30-year career. And they're like, what's that? And I said, I finished third. So I got a third at the drag race. So it was really neat. Crazy packed event. I mean, it sold out. It was standing room only. I went there last year to the same event on like basically the same weekend. It was packed then. Well, it was more packed this time. They had a really nice memorial service for Sam Fennick, who lost his life couple 3 weeks ago at Willowbank, and this was the first event since. And our whole team wore shirts memorializing him, and so. But it was it was a packed event. It was 95 degrees, track temp 145 on first round on Saturday. But it was nice. I had fun, and for me, because I didn't do any match racing last year. That was the first time I drove a single seat top fuel car in a year. So we really had a good time.
So when you describe, like racing down there, and is it comparable to, races here? Is there a different, atmosphere, or people looking and feeling different, or do you think it's, just like you're back home?
I tell you, I mean, there was 7 top fuel cars for the event. We qualified with a 384. Low was a 3. Well, the second session got rain halfway through, so Damian Harris's 379 didn't count. So a 381 was low, and then in the C final he run another 370. So it's like, I mean, you got to be a 370 car to win or to be relevant. And so all these cars here, I mean, they're Morgan Lucas cars and Schumacher cars and Hadman cars. And so all the equipment, it's all the latest, greatest. I mean, you could take one of these cars and bring it over to the States and it would still be competitive. So, I mean, no different than our sport, the competition breeds, performance. So it's the same thing. When I went over there, and literally it's been 10 years since the first time I went over there was 2013. Definitely a different batch of cars then, and the performance was a lot less. Now it's they're low 380s, high 370s. Guys have run, I think the national record now since they've gone to 1,000 foot is it's a 371 or 72. So it's pretty good. Like I think every car here, and I said this before to people down there, any of the 7 that ran could win the event. Like, I mean, they're all good cars. It wouldn't be a surprise or an upset or shocking or anything like that. So so it's just a matter of making sure you got your act together when you go down the racetrack on whether you win or lose.
Larry, you mentioned movies on the fly. You mentioned American Graffiti. We already had actually talked about American Graffiti a little bit earlier on the show because we were talking about like best drag racing movie, period, all time. So for you, top drag racing movie, what is it?
Oh gosh, they're gonna be old movies because there aren't any new. Are there any new drag racing movies?
I think Snake and Mongoose was like the newest, and it's been a while.
Yeah, I'm gonna. There was a movie called Drag Racer. There's not very many to choose from. And then there was gosh, I'm trying to think of I can't think of the other one that was pretty good. Funny Car Summer, obviously, seeing Jim Dunn and Mike Dunn when he was a kid. Very cool. I'm trying to think. There was another movie that came out around 78, 79 that I got a tape of at home. That'll watch it. It's pretty funny, but it's again, it's the 70s because it's there isn't any, there's Heart Like a Wheel and stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I'd probably, I don't know what my favorite drag racing movie would be. That's a great question. I don't even know that I have an answer for it, but Funny Car Summer was pretty cool. And especially seeing Mike Dunn, like racing people in his bicycle with a parachute on the back. It's just, kids, that grow up at the drag races, and we're all kids doing it. And I likened that. My Schwinn bicycle when I was a kid had a parachute on the back of it, that Deist, made a chute for. So that kind of stuff. I mean, that was our environment when we grew up. So anytime you'd see that, it'd be cool. Definitely cool to see. Yeah, I'm probably going to lean towards Funny Car Summer.
Nice. And so you mentioned Mike Dunn, who's, I believe, one of the best pure drivers in drag racing history. Obviously, you guys have had your battles back in the day. And I remember when we did an interview on my channel a long time ago, you said Mike Dunn was one of the guys who really helped you along in your career. And I know you guys actually did a kind of a thing together at either the March Meet or the Hot Rod reunion a few years back. Do you still follow the Heritage Series at all? And in that scene?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, no, Mike, they were live streaming, and then they had Mike and myself hosting it. So it was great. I really enjoyed it. I pay attention to the cars. Probably not. I mean, you could quiz me and I would lose the quiz, but like when the guys are running, I mean, with Bucky Austin and his funny car, I mean, obviously that team and Bobby Cottrell, they're really strong. And then Tom Shalar with the high speed car, just ruled the roost, until he unfortunately passed away. But yeah, I mean, I pay attention to it for sure. I don't get to the event. Living in Indianapolis, getting to the West Coast for either the March Meet or the Hot Rod, the reunion in the fall. It's kind of tough. The reunion in the fall always falls on my birthday, and that isn't a weekend that you're just going to leave your family behind, and you're probably not going to take your family to, the drag races if they're not all in on it. So, and then Father's Day weekend in Bowling Green, they got the Heritage Meet, but it seems like there's other events going on at the same time, and it's got somewhat of a conflict. But been to the March Meet a few times. I was a Grand Marshal one year. Me and my dad got to do it, so that was really neat. And then again, like you said, with hosting with Mike Dunn when they did that live stream program, and I must not have dazzled them with my brilliance, because if they're still doing it, I'm not part of the hosting group. So, but yeah,
they don't do it anymore.
But for me, it's really motorsports. I mean, anything that makes noise, I have some interest in it for sure. I'd rather watch that than, fall asleep in the grandstands, some other, stick and ball sport maybe. So I like noise for sure.
Larry, we got a question coming in here. It says, drag and drive this year, Larry. So I'm guessing they want to know if you're going to be doing any of those.
I'm gonna work my tail off to be able to run Drag Week at the end of the year in September. Hopefully, the schedules line up to where I can do it. I was stoked that I did Midwest Drags last year along with Drag Week, so I was thrilled to be able to do that, because I hadn't done a drag and drive in probably 3 or 4 years, and I got to do 2, so it was awesome. The Midwest Drags, even though it's called Midwest Drags, is about as far East Coast as possible drags this year. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off logistically. And then I was looking at 6 Summer, and there's a little bit of and actually signed up for it, but I think I've got a conflict. I'm not going to be able to pull that one off. So I'm shooting really hard to be able to go to Drag Week again. So that would be in September.
Drag Week's cool.
Oh yeah, for me, it's as a kid when you finally get your license and you've got your hot rod car and you're driving it, and it kind of brings me back to that era, because it's like wherever you're taking and driving your car, you're going to meet up with a couple hundred other drag guys that got street cars and stuff. So it's neat. I mean, that's how it was when we were kids. You'd cruise, and not that any of us street raced, but if you did, you'd be going and meeting up with those people. So I mean,
can you do that again for us, please?
Right. So I'm not gonna. I can't get in any more trouble than I've ever been in before. So I'm okay telling you how it is. I mean, it's the fact of the matter with the street racing, and that pretty much sealed my fate. I mean, I literally got arrested. I had helicopters chase me and got arrested, and my car impounded and all of that. And I'm like, I guess if I was born 30 years later, I'd be a hero on the Discovery Channel. But back then, I was just a villain and a lawbreaker. So I had to find other. I needed to not do that, and so that's pretty much what happened. So I end up parking. I had that was a 55 Chevy, and my dad ended up taking that car, and then I had my Nova, and then I parked it, and we're not street racing anymore. And then I was fortunate that I never got rid of the car. Almost like it got parked in a time capsule. And then like when I come up out of the 20 years of full-time Top Fuel racing, there's my car, and I'm like, I love that car. So I mean, that Chevy too, and put another motor in it, go and do these drag and drive events. It's like, I have a blast with that car. And it's like, I mean, I've got at the shop, I got my Chevy 2, I got the Top Fuel car, and I got a 2-seat car. And if I had to throw one out, I honestly don't know which one it is, because they're all cool at what they do. I mean, I love them all. It'd be like picking one of your kids, which one like you're not. So I have a blast in any of those cars that I drive. You're doing something different. The street car is, probably my first love car. And then you got the 2-seater, when you're sharing that experience with somebody, and you get to see how animated and excited they are at that opportunity. That's a blast. And then you got your Top Fuel car, which is, been watching Top Fuel cars, and, watch my dad race. And ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to grow up and race them just like him. So they're all awesome. So nobody's made me choose, and I'm not going to at this point.
So, Larry, you mentioned coming in on the show, you're in Gainesville. Someone is attempting to up their license, and we did have an individual ask on which guy you are speaking of. So is that for immediate press release yet or not?
What I would say is we're down here doing that, and if they haven't put the press release out, I'm going to say it's off the record. I don't know. Which is obviously a side joke, or maybe it's not, but if they haven't said it, then I'm not going to be the one to say it. So it's, we're down here upgrading a license. Frank Hawley is kind of overseeing the whole thing, and we're doing it for them and with them. And while we're down here, there's quite a few fuel cars here running. So it's kind of neat. I mean, I haven't had a race car on the grounds here since 2017. So it's cool. I'm enjoy hanging out with the guys for the next few days.
Thanks. Boom. There you go, Lee. Can't say anything now. Hey, Larry, I guess
Larry put in there that it's off the record.
Well, you asked him first if it was off the record. You didn't just, put it out there. So, Larry, hey, final question for me here is since we've seen you at PRI, have you still been drinking the teas? Are those still making it in rotation, or was that just a one-time drink for PRI?
I had no idea that the inquiring minds wanted to know about my choice of liquid beverages. It's well, I'll give you my story. So how did that come about? Why did I pick tea versus soda? Is because I used to drink soda like a fiend. Like I would drink 2 or 3 big gulps in a day in between having more soda. And I literally, that's all I drank. I never even drank water or anything. And then when I got throat cancer and had to go through the chemo and the radiation, the carbonation on my tongue was like an explosion. It was crazy how the bubbles and you couldn't drink anything carbonated. So then it was like, while I was going through all the chemo and the radiation, it was either iced tea or water. Like there was literally nothing else. I needed everything bland and no bubbles. And then, so I kind of got in the habit of doing that. So that's pretty much where the iced tea or the water came from. So, and now, to steal a line from Paul Harvey, the rest of the story.
That's awesome.
Darren, any last questions?
Yeah, final question for me, and I'm sorry, guys, I'm about to fan out for a little bit. So I told them at the beginning of the show, Larry Dixon and Joe Amato, when it comes to you two, are like my favorite 2 top fuel drivers of all time. So I just want to say it's an honor right now to have you on the show right here. So final question for me, and it's been about 20 years. They took us off the show. So statutes of limitations are up. It's been about 20 years. Battle of the Beer Wagons. Just kind of go back. Just how of a tense battle was that between you and Kenny Bernstein back in those days? Miller versus Budweiser. What was you guys' relationship like? Was back in those days, and just kind of tell us about it.
Well, I had no idea when I started driving how serious that was with the companies, and that's and you can blame that completely on ignorance. But when I first started driving, all the time, the Miller Brewing, which great sponsor for 12 years, but early on they're like, well, how did Bernstein do? And I'm like, literally the first year, I'm like, I wasn't like that, but who cares? Scott Coletta is the guy that's owning the class. Like that, to me, Scott was the competition. And then my boss at Miller says, yeah, well, Kenny Bernstein and Budweiser is our competition. So it's like, wow, okay. So it's like literally, the questions that you get asked is how did you do? And then how did Bernstein do? Like that, and that's what they wanted to know. And it was and then I never, because I came from the crew side, it wasn't like I was in the driver clique or maybe even an owner clique, because most of the guys driving owned their own cars. So I didn't have this relationship with Kenny, I had a better relationship with Brandon because he was a crew guy before he became a driver. And then, I was buddies with all the crew guys. And so, no, I never really got along with Kenny while we were driving. He was but in his defense, he's all in on the Bud thing. So it's like, if I'm driving the Miller car, I'm the enemy. And he really took that to heart. I mean, to the point where, we're not, he probably still has trouble talking to me nowadays. Me and Brandon are solid though. We're cool, but it's just, it was a really heated time. And I guess the great thing about it was, you fast forward. I mean, I started driving in 95. Bernstein's car wasn't running very well in 95. And then in our car was the following year, Kenny's car was running well and ours wasn't. So there's no rivalry there. I mean, you got to be in the finals or battling every, qualifying sessions and every race to have it be a rivalry. The first year that I drove in 1995, I never paired up with Kenny Bernstein once on race day. So what kind of rivalry are you going to have out of that? So that's kind of how it was. But you fast forward a few years, we got Dick LaHaye as a crew chief, and then Tim Richards on Kenny's car, and both the cars were running really good. I mean, it was, like if we're not, I mean, really the three cars at the time, I mean, it was Doug Coletta, Kenny, and then us, and then, Brandon, when he took over. So it was just, and I think that's, you really got to have two good running cars to make it a real rivalry. And for 2, 3, 4 year span, it kind of got that way. And it was kind of, it was neat to be a part of it. It was, if Kenny hadn't beat us in the championship in 2001, the way he did, I mean, he helped make me a better driver. That team helped us be a better team. Like we raced better. Everything that we did better because of how good Kenny's team was. And him winning the championship in 2001, like we had to literally battle that team to do it, and to have him still have a good year, but us to beat him. It's, it was very satisfying. It made you feel like you really accomplished something. So it was, and it was cutthroat. I mean, there wasn't no love lost. I mean, we got Dick LaHaye as a crew chief, and then his daughter's over on the car, and it's you try to put that away when you leave the track, but it's really hard because either they're kicking your ass or you're kicking their ass, and but it made it fun. I mean, I definitely looking back on it, it's probably the best time of my driving career was those battles.
Badass. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Larry, look, man, good to have you once again on the show. Thanks for the update, and hope you enjoy Gator Country.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys having me on. And I love your guys' work, and I love everything that you guys put out, trying to, everybody's got to work hard to make drag racing relevant, and the more relevant it is, then everybody gets paid, and everybody can make a career of it. And that's the dream gig is being able to get paid doing something that you love to do. So I love that you guys are out there working hard and posting and putting stuff up, and Darren, the other videos that you do as well too. I watch them, man. I give them thumbs up. So it's good stuff, man. So I love what you guys are doing, and anything I can do to help out, let me know.
Thank you, Larry. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Larry Dixon Jr.
Darren.
Always good to chat with him.
Thank you for my fanboy moment. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Look, I had to say his name so he could take a breath, because he's like, he likes my stuff. Mom, you're gonna see the post tomorrow, Lee. Mom, I made it.
Man, wow.
Darren,
all right.
Hold on, Darren. Where are you at, Darren? Because you're not at your home. You're not at your studio. So where are you?
I'm in the home of Funny Car Legends, Orange County, California, at my girlfriend's house.
Okay, so I would just make sure she checks on you, make sure you're still breathing in the middle of the night, because you just had a moment with Larry Dixon. So we just want to check on your well-being,
I'm good. Appreciate it. I'm
okay.
good.
All right. Well, guys, one individual doing very well is Mr. Davies, and he continues to make sure that factory stock, wherever it may go in race, is going to be doing exactly that well. So we're going to take a break and get Mr. Davies on, talk to him about some of the latest in the world of factory stock right after this break from Holly that lets us see retro bright.
Classic car owners, make your headlights over twice as bright with Holley Retro Bright LED headlights. A plug-in replacement for those dim halogen seal beams, Retro Bright maintains that classic look and lasts 6 times longer. Stay safe and click the link below to learn more.
Oh, Dave, man, good to have you back on.
Hey, guys. Hey, and Sam, you take it easy on Darren. I was fanboying out too, listening to the previous talker, so I was having a good time with it. So,
Well, you should have wrote that in the comments. We could have in this private chat. We could have got you on to ask a question or something.
well, I was just listening. Anytime you can listen, that's what you do, right? So I was just paying attention and listening, taking some notes.
Larry Dixon in a factory stock car would be pretty cool.
Yes, Larry Dixon in a factory stock car would be really cool. I was paying very close attention. I was hoping he was going to tell me how he outran that helicopter, but I was waiting for that answer, right?
Larry, I guess Larry can't give away all his secrets because his little Chevy 2 in the Drag and Drive scenario, it's a bad little hot rod. Absolutely. It's a cool car.
Yep.
I think I have in the words of Bobby, I have the first nostalgia Factory X car coming out on the market soon. I take that one, Lee. Don't do it, Lee. Don't you do it. I see you clicking. Don't you even do it. Okay, good.
Look, just gotta say, always great to have the support of the moms out there, and that's Darren's mom saying.
There you go.
That's good. It's good.
Absolutely.
So, Dave, I know we've asked this before, but I think it is important to what we will ask in just a few moments with everything that you're doing. Why factory stock? I mean, you could put your funds in pro stock. It could be in a nitro car. It could be in Factory X coming up. But why is it factory stock for you?
All right. It's factory stock for me because it's a door car. All right. It's pretty simple. I think as we talk more this evening, you're going to realize we are expanding the DH Davies race team a little bit here in the future into some other categories as well. But factory stock at its heart, it's a door car. It's all sheet metal. It's and that's it. It's a car, and they're recognizable. It's not a rail car. It's not a tube chassis. These are as close to a factory 7-second car as you can get. And basically, there's safety add-ons, right? The roll cage, the fuel cell, the firewall in the back. I mean, the suspension and stuff. But these are cars that came off the assembly line at one point in time, and that to me is what it is. Larry said it best, right? I mean, we never, ever, ever have raced on the street. No. But this is a door car. This is as close as it gets.
Amen.
That's it. It's simple as that. And you've asked that question a bunch of times. I think I've given you a pretty consistent answer, right? So
that's right. And I think that's why factory stock is continuing to grow with the fan base. They see it, and it is an actual car that happens to be racing.
Yes, exactly. There's cars very similar to these.
It's more
in the parking lot at the racetrack, right? That's it.
Exactly. It's more to it. It's relatable. I mean, you look at all the people right now that are saying, "Oh, I can go race in the local street outlaw class or whatever," because it's cars that are more relatable. I mean, we've said it a million times on this show too, Lee. We don't have $1 million. The average Joe Blow doesn't have $1 million to go and buy, a Top Fuel operation or a funny car operation. I mean, you look at pro stock cars, you're like, yeah, okay, but your Factory X, your factory stock cars, those are the cars that guys and girls can, probably still find at, in a shop somewhere that someone's not using, or they can find, they can go and get one more obtainable than, nitro racing. So door car racing, checks that box off for a lot of us. I mean,
yeah, the attainability, Sam, is the big deal, right? I mean, it is attainable. You can go buy a Copo, you can get a Challenger, you can get a drag pack. I mean, there's limited production runs, but that's not what makes it unattainable. It's an attainable car. I mean, my car is a narrow body Dodge Challenger, narrow body Hellcat. That's the way it came off the assembly line, right? And that's what it started out as, and it's all metal. There's all steel. Hell, the power windows have to work, guys. We have to have carpet in the cars. We have to have 2 seats. the dashboard has to be intact, right? I mean, that's about as close as you're going to get.
Bingo. All right. Let's bring everybody up to speed on what is happening in the world of factory stock, because it's no longer Constant Aviation. It is FlexJet. So what is FlexJet and why their involvement with factory stock?
FlexJet is one of the companies in a portfolio of private aviation companies, and Constant Aviation was part of that portfolio. Constant Aviation, as you guys remember, was a maintenance organization that worked on aircraft of all types and sizes. FlexJet is one of the largest fleets of business jets, private jets in the country and in the world, for that matter. And FlexJet needed more maintenance capacity. We needed to be able to do more of our FlexJet needed to be able to do more of its own work and its own work on its own fleet. And so Constant Aviation fit that bill. So FlexJet bought Constant Aviation. We merged them together. Along with that is the sponsorship that Constant had, and the team at FlexJet is going to give it a try and see if they have half the success with the sponsorship that Constant did. We're going to be in good shape. It worked really well for Constant. It isn't necessarily a direct fit for the FlexJet brand, but considering the recruitment challenges that we have, both from a technician standpoint and fabricators and maintenance technicians and avionics and even pilots, it felt like an opportunity that we wanted to keep going and run it out with FlexJet and see if we can make it be as successful there as it was before.
Sam, always good to hear that drag racing is being used as a platform to reach people, to fill those needs in an industry. And it sounds like every time you've come on, you've mentioned that the aviation industry is searching. It seems like at some point it became hard hit and there's not a lot of people in it. Or I imagine, I can remember from the welding industry, there was big expectations that a lot of people were going to retire out. I imagine it's similar.
Yeah, there's some aging out, but the reality of it is, guys, it's especially on the private aviation side. I mean, we're talking 16 passenger aircraft down to 6 passenger aircraft, right? So it's growing so fast. I mean, the FlexJet fleet is growing so fast that we have to be aggressive with our hiring of our technicians, our maintenance technicians, our avionics technicians, our pilots, and really our schedulers and dispatchers and everybody across the whole operation. We have to be aggressive, and we have to start working down channels that we may not have historically had to use in the past to reach people. And as I said, I mean, the sponsorship worked so well at Constant. When I took that company over in 2020, and then we took the sponsorship over in 21, it worked so well. We reached the people we were trying to reach. We reached customers as well. It wasn't just recruiting, but the direct impact was on the recruitment side for sure. It worked great for that.
It's just kind of weird. You know, we talked about it here with DSR a couple of weeks ago when we were talking to the gentleman from DSR. His name slips in my mind right now, but I mean, even he's involved in some sorts of aircraft, in the industry. So it's just one of those things where, a lot of people are looking at drag racers and looking at different things of the motorsports world, but it relates the correlation, it just relates so well to, what the aircraft mechanics and maintenance is looking. Is it the finite details of someone that is into the drag racing automotive that switches over, or when you guys are doing this big recruitments and everything? How does that, like you said, it plays into your favor, but what is it about those minor details that, is very beneficial to you guys?
Well, you have to be certified. You get your airframe and power plant license and to work on an aircraft, right? You have to get a license. But the skill sets that people train towards and that they need to get their license are all in the fabrication, the sheet metal work, the mechanical capability. The skill sets that we use to work on the aircraft, absent the licensing requirements that you have to go through, are the same skill sets we use to work on these cars. We have avionics technicians, electricians, wiring harness people, fabricators, everything from the bumper to the front bumper to the back bumper. Those skill sets translate. Absent the the requirement to take a test and get a license, the skill sets translate. And so we put a fairly aggressive apprenticeship program in place. We can bring somebody off the street with no skills, nothing at all, straight off the street, straight out of high school, and we'll pay them a salary. And 18 months later, they're ready to take 16, 18 months later, they're ready to take their test and have a license and start a career. And we'll keep them working right through our hangars. And you can take that license anywhere in the world and get a job. We've had great success with that. We've taken people off the racetrack, out of the pits, fans that have shown up to the trailer over the last couple of years, got them recruited, got them in the building, started their program, and we started graduating people that we just picked up off the street through our apprenticeship program. And that's what you have to do. It wasn't apprenticeship wasn't as big of a deal as it was over the years, in the past years. Sorry. And now we have to build a pipeline. We have to start recruiting people, and if you're going to recruit people, you're going to try and recruit people that at least have the starting skill sets that you're looking for, even though you have to train them and get them certified. Mechanical capability, the ability to read a diagram, read a manual, and follow procedures and rules, and safety being paramount. I mean, all that correlates. It all fits.
Bringing you on, you mentioned that DH Davies Racing is going to be expanding and doing a whole lot more this year. So where does this team stand right now? Is it now independent from Don Schumacher Racing? Is it still connected with Don Schumacher Racing? And then we'll move forward to the big news, at least that one glimpse that we have of that expansion in the factory stock world. So what's the status of the team?
I've left DSR in the middle of the silly season here as we were doing the sponsorship changeover. I also left DSR and we've gone out on our own. I can't really thank Don enough and the entire organization over there, from the front office to the back office. Jason and Eric, the crew guys, and Kevin and Chad and everybody over there at DSR over the last 18 months. I got to learn from some of the best. I got to shadow Leah and Mark around in 21. I got to work with Mark Powick real closely last year as well. And I learned a lot. I learned on an aggressive timeline. I learned quite a bit. And that's one of the reasons I went over there. I thought it was time to make a change because there were some things that I wanted to do that would have been a little bit restrictive if I stayed with DSR, but I'll never, I'll still answer the phone. They still call. I still talk to them. I still talk to everybody over there from Don down. And, we are on our own. I've got the team at Wesley Motorsports is setting my car up for next year, and they're going to be handling most of all of the logistics and a few other projects we're working on. So I'm going to be partnering with them going into 23.
Wow, Sam, that's some big changes.
Yep.
And I mean, you look at all of this, right? And you hear people talk about, hey, we stepped away from DSR, but in all of that, you always hear that the partnership is still there. The relationships are still built. And I just want to say that I think that that's, huge on you to say, you know what, hey, we want to try this on our own. We want to step away. Thank you for the help. And we hear that from a lot of people. As soon as they say, you know what, we're going to go and maybe try this a different way. But the first thing they say after that is thank you to Don and what he's done and his resources. So that speaks volumes of him, and then also speaks values of him and what he's doing to this sport. He's building people up to the point where, they have raced under him and they can now move on and continue to grow and maybe give back to someone else that, may need that. So I thought that was really cool that you said that. But then, I mean, there was some pretty big news that was kind of announced. With races that you're going to be involved in, and you're bringing different door cars to door racing. So, I mean, I think this is the right time to kind of do that. So I'll let you, kind of break the news to the Competition Plus world of what you're doing with these mad hot rods and what you're going to be doing down in Bradenton here in a couple of weeks.
Well, the guys at Drag Illustrated, Brett and Wes and those guys were putting on this pro mod event down there in Bradenton the weekend before Gainesville, right? So we got to talking to them, and they wanted to roll out. We started talking to them about putting a factory stock class in place during that event as well. So, DH Davies Racing Factory Stock Classic, the inaugural event, will be the weekend of the 3rd at Bradenton. We've got myself, AJ Berg and Hemi Tuner, Wesley Motorsports, and Warren Walcher are all kicking in prize money. We have about $17,000 plus worth of prize money for the factory stock class, and we're going to go down there. And Bradenson's a great place. The team at Bradenson's fantastic. The guys at Drag Illustrated are hustling, and it's most everybody's going to be in that neck of the woods anyway. So let's get it on a week early. Let's get everybody going, get the smack talk moving, and get ready for the season here. And if they're in the neighborhood if you're in the neighborhood and want to see some slamming door cars hustling down the track at Bradenton, that's where we're going to be. It's about that time, guys. It's just about time to shut up and line up. So let's get it going a weekend early, huh?
Sounds good to me. And man, look, thank you. Just want to say thank you, honestly, for your support for this class. It is such a great class, and it represents so much of what drag racing was, should be, and with that class is. And it's so good that it's going to be on that grand platform of the World Series of Pro Mod and be there and be represented. That is such a cool thing.
Yeah, we are very happy to be able to do that. The invites started going out this afternoon. We've got a strong. It's all the usual suspects. Everybody's there. So we'll have everybody's going to be gunning after Mr. David Barton. He will be there as well, and we got to be chasing his tail down after the championship last year. We're happy to be able to do it. It's a very competitive field. It's good for DH Davies Racing too, as we start to look at other categories, other cars. We're gonna be supporting. We're looking at a couple top sportsman cars. We're chasing after a couple A fuel cars as well. So we're going to be expanding the team a little bit. And I guess we could kick around the first team expansion we're gonna do. I think it's important that anybody in this sport that's having any type of fun with it or any type of capacity and capability, we've got to be able to help the people. Not help, it's the wrong word, but support the people and everybody that's just starting out and keep the grassroots going. Right? We got to help and support the people that are at the grassroots level. We've been successful enough to get where we're at, and it's important that we give a little bit back. So we are going to bring on Maddie Turley into DH Davies Racing. We're going to help her and her family a little bit and get Mopar Maddie out there on the racetrack in 23 as well. I know she's in here listening. She's probably freaking out right now. I've been talking to her dad and her mom and Maddie over the last couple of years. So AJ and I are going to work with her on a tune. We're going to get her car set up. We're going to get her some capability and some capacity to get her car out to some events all throughout the season in 23. And that's our first little expansion of the DH Davies Racing team. We're going to push down and start at the grassroots level. And then over the next couple of weeks, maybe the next month or so, you guys are going to hear about some further expansion of the team as well.
Wow, that's cool to hear. To hear of exactly that, remembering folks, giving a leg up, and helping them in their career and expanding the team. And we all need that. I know for me, Chip Lofton was critical for me to be exactly where I'm at. We all need that. And yes, she's giving you 3 thumbs up here.
Yeah, there she is. I knew she wasn't too far. She follows us pretty closely. She's been out there scooting around in her car and making those 13, 14-second passes. So our goal is to get her down to 11 and try not to freak her mom out, right? So we're gonna get her going in the right direction and make sure her and her family have some support so she can go out and run around and race and experience what she likes to do. And her family likes to support her in that, so we want to help in that as well.
Awesome. And I think I found the right profile and page. We'll upload it real quick, and everybody can understand who we're talking about. This young lady.
Yep, there you go.
All right. Got her bad Mopar right there and ready to go faster. I like it.
Yeah, she's got the right car and the right color, so we're in good shape. We're off to a rip-roaring start.
Awesome.
And that's what it takes, Lee. It's giving back to those that, like we've always talked about it. Drag racing has, I think, the elders, and I don't mean this in any way, but the elders of drag racing, got to where they were, and then they didn't let anyone in. We had a bunch of gatekeepers, and no one would let, the younger generation into drag racing. And then we've seen this era, or these eras of what is wrong with drag racing. Why is this, such a big gap? And I think finally now the gatekeepers are like, hey, like it's time. Like, we need to let you guys in. And it's just cool to see that you're giving back to someone who is so young, but is, excited about the sport. She's sitting here watching this when she could be scrolling through TikTok or whatever else, but she's embedded into the sport of drag racing. So, shout out to her for being that. But then, it just seems like every time we talk, it's there's more coming from this program. There's more that you're doing inside of drag racing. So, I mean, for you, what is it that keeps drawing you and keeps, grabbing at you to say, I want to do more and I have more to do?
Well, I told you before, I kind of fanboyed out in the green room there when Larry was talking, right? He said some of this, man. It's I will neither confirm nor deny that I ever had a car race on the street, right? But I've been to the local tracks. I did that when I was in high school. I came back home after being in the service for a few years, and I've been all around the country in the racing with the Modern Street Hemi Shootout guys. That's a grassroots organization that has grown leaps and bounds over the year. And Dan Van Horn and Eric and everybody and that whole family of people there, and it really is a family. They'll bring you up and show you what you can do and help you get where you want to go. And they helped me get here. And the whole group over at the Legion of Demons Racing, the fastest Mopars on earth, that whole group, Tim Godby put that together. And that's another group that helps you get where you want to go. It is a very much a family atmosphere. And you're right, to a certain extent, once you move up the ladder a little bit, you lose a little bit of that. So I've made sure that while I'm having fun and I get to do this, I'm going to make sure I consciously try to push back down a little bit. And it's a conscious effort to try to make sure we help the people that we can help and we do what we can do. Even if it's just showing up at events, taking the car out once in a while and getting some other events that are off the track. And just being there, because as you guys said, this class specifically is such a fan-centric class. It is the volume of people that we have walking by the trailer and through the pits and talking to us in the off season and asking us advice and asking us for help. You have to be able to recognize that the people that are asking were basically you in previous years. And if you lose sight of that, I don't know how to fix it. So I just refuse to lose sight of it. I hope that makes sense. It made sense to me when I said it. So
it certainly makes sense. And I like that perspective. And I wish anybody that makes it would have that perspective. You came from somewhere.
Yep.
Maybe different avenues than the other people that have made it, but you came from somewhere. Remember how you got there and helped someone to get there as well. For this class in particular,
yeah,
Dave, my last question for you for the night. I feel like the class obviously does not get enough exposure. What are the talks with NHRA for this class to get more exposure, to get more time on Fox, to get more time on the Sportsman broadcast, to get eliminations covered on YouTube or whatever? What is that conversation? I'm sure it's got to be happening.
Yeah, it is happening. It happens all the time. One of the problems that this class has always historically struggled with is it's not a pro class, and technically it's not a sportsman class. It fits in the middle. And so if it fits in the middle, there's nobody, it doesn't get dragged with the Lucas Oil sportsman classes, and it doesn't get dragged along in the pro classes. So we've got to be vocal. We've got to tell them what we want and get with them, because if we don't, the class gets lost in between, because it really is kind of a bridge class. So we are going to 10 races this year. This will be the most races that this class has ever had since it started. It's been 8 the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. We're going to go to 10 this year. We're still going to run 4 wide at Charlotte. I think that went really well last year. And we're going to end the season in Vegas like we did in 21. We're going to go to Chicago for the first time this year. And we're going to St. Louis as well. So just the expansion of the number of races, one thing. And I really tried hard this year to get them to let us run out on the left coast. It is kind of a slog for everybody to get out there, but I thought we could put like a little mini left coast swing in place. And there's still some resistance to having this class run out on the left coast. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I fight that battle with them all the time. Coverage is always something I'm asking for, and I think I've got everybody at the NHRA to understand that when I'm hollering for coverage, when I'm hollering for inclusiveness for this class, it's easy to get lost in the fact that I'm hollering on that. I'm hollering about that for FlexGen or for Constant, right? And to a certain extent, I am. But the reality of it is, the only way this class continues to grow is if we get that coverage. So it's really more about the class than the sponsorship. From a racer's point of view, it's more about the class than the sponsorship. The sponsorship allows me to get the voice and beat that drum, and they listen. So that's, he who has the checkbook gets heard, that type of thing, right? So that helps a lot. I think we've gone a long ways in the last couple of years. Expanding to 10 races is a good thing. I think the competition committee has done a hell of a good job. I'm not as paranoid about the Factory X, the FX cars as some people are. I can neither confirm nor deny that there may be a few more of those being built as we speak. I think the class is rooted in a good place, as long as it doesn't get lost between, like I said, the Camping World Series and the Lucas Oil Series, which is always seems to me to be the root of the problem, is it gets lost in there.
That makes sense.
It does. It just seems like that's, even if you go to the NHRA's website, it's a separate category, right? It's not in either of the two main categories.
Lee, I think you and I have, we've had this fight on here too. I mean, what's a pro class and what's not, and like at this point, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this is me standing on my soapbox. I haven't done that in a while, so here it goes. But at this point, I mean, even our sportsman categories, I get it. That's your sportsman category, okay? But why don't we just all fall under the same umbrella? I get it. If you have different sponsors, I don't think Camping World's going to be mad about it. That yes, you may have brought your own sponsors to this, but you guys are all running under the NHRA umbrella. So there can be, this and that, but we're all still, sportsman category. We leave from there, and then we're going to professional categories. I mean, the separation of this is over here and that's over here and that, it just, why do we have to segregate every little thing? Just we all are here. We all love what we're doing. And if we put it under the umbrella and we show more of everything, I get it. Nitro is what, Nitro is the NFL, technically, quote unquote, of the NHRA drag race. It's what brings people. But there's still those guys and girls like myself and like Lee and like you that, yes, we love Nitro. You can't get enough of it. But I'm not the guy that's leaving when door cars roll in. I'm not the guy that's getting up when pro stock motorcycles come into, the staging lanes, because there's more to drag racing. And yes, I love Nitro, but I can relate to the door car guys because that's what I am. I mean, hands down, if it wasn't for door cars, there would be no Slam and Sam that loves Nitro also. So instead of eliminating and shutting it down, let's just put it all under the same umbrella and just be happy. Mix them up. One weekend, you guys run after Nitro cars or whatever it may be. I mean, it gets more eyes onto the sport, and the more eyes on the sport, and the more that people are seeing it and mixing it up, you may gain one or two different fans that you never knew that you had before.
Yeah,
if that made sense.
It does. And the NHRA obviously spotlights, and they should, it spotlights the pro categories as they should. There's a limited amount of TV time. There's a limited amount of time during the weekend to even get all these classes through. And it is a logistics scheduling nightmare to get all these cars down the track. I get that. I understand that. But one of the things that the factory stock cars have the advantage of that the Nitro cars don't is we can go race other places, right? We can go to the World Series of Pro Mod and enter a class there. We can race at a Drag Illustrated event. We can go to NMCA events. We can go to other events. So we try to hit some of all of them. I'm primarily in the class being supported through the NHRA side. But one of the ways we can make this class more visible is to make the class more visible, make the cars more visible. there's more events out there that we could do. There's more things that we can do. You want to turn this into a pro class, then we got to run more than 10 events a year, right? We got to get out there and do that.
All good things, good things. And certainly Factory Stock deserves it. What a wonderful class that it is. Hey, talk to them. Maybe they'll let y'all do the parade down the other way of the track like they used to do at Pro Stock before the start of the race or something. Maybe they'll let that happen. That'd be kind of, I'd love to see that. I got photos of it from my dad. I'm like, that's cool.
Lee, I got it. I know what we do to help Factory Stock. I know what we do. They let you and I do a burnout and take the cars down the track.
I think there's, you've got a lot more experience in that than me. I think for me.
Oh, no. See, Dave, do you hear him backtracking real quick?
I'm just.
That was a I hear him backtracking.
These cars are expensive,
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I think you have to get that request by my engine guy first. If he has a hard enough time with me keeping the engines in one piece, let alone letting somebody else in the car, right? I have
there you go.
Last year I had a habit of, making a lot of smoke. So we're going to try and prevent that this year. So
Okay. Well, very quickly, Dave, before we do let you go, I noticed your team's got the YouTube channel, and folks, we got that link in the comment section. You got the website. What else is going to be expanding? I saw merch, decals, all of that for your racing program. How can people support it directly?
Yeah, well, that's it. We're also we do stuff. We're, like I said before, we're looking on the A-Fuel side of things. Wouldn't surprise me if we have a dragster out there shortly. We're going to some top sportsman stuff. We're just trying to expand the portfolio inside the team itself. We're also doing other things outside of drag racing, guys. I mean, I'm leaving for Florida on the 14th, and taking a car that we're working on to send to Bonneville, and we're going to go to Cape Canaveral and run that and do some land speed testing on the weekend of the 17th as well. So we got other stuff going on, because there's not enough stuff going on in the silly season. We should just put some more stuff in there, right? So
right.
So we got other things going on. It's all I hate to say it, but it's all speed related and car related. But we're looking at expanding the team in a bunch of different directions. So you'll hear more about that stuff here in the coming weeks as well. We got we're gonna get Maddie out there on the racetrack and get her burning up and down the track, and get her some support so that her family and her can get her car out there. And we're looking at a few other ones as well. And I got a sneaking suspicion we'll be talking about those in the coming weeks and months. So after we kind of get through the hurdle of the Pro Mod event in Gainesville, I would expect there'll be some more announcements coming up after that.
Yes, please let us know whenever you guys do get that. Lee and I'm pretty sure, and Bobby would love to get a story or get some video, to help Maddie out and help you guys out, link the partnerships there. So, keep us in the loop of that and everything you guys got going on. So I know this is my last one. I know last time we talked, there was a bounty on someone's back, start of the year. What is the bounty at right now? And yeah, what is that going to roll over into World Series or Pro Mod, or is that just going to kind of be a separate event?
That's just for the NHRA event specifically. So who won in Texas? Because I know I didn't, because I know my engine didn't run. I forget who won in Texas.
Oh, who did win in Texas?
It wasn't David Barton, but who looked that up real quick? I forget who was it. Whoever won in Dallas at the end of the season last year. They'll be going into Gainesville with the bounty on their head. I just forget who it was. That's kind of embarrassing, but I did. Somebody on here is going to pop up and tell me in a minute.
Lee's got it.
I'm trying to find
Aaron
results.
Stanfield. There you go.
Okay.
Willie's on there. He's trying to keep me honest. Aaron Stanfield. So he'll go into Gainesville with the bounty on his head. $1,000 bounty. Whoever can knock Aaron out of during eliminations. Right. Same. The bounty carries over. That was very successful. I think the fans dug it. I know I heard a lot of chatter about it, and I know the drivers liked it. So we're going to keep that rolling too with the new sponsorship. So.
Boom.
All right. Glad that program's still going to be out there. Dave, again, thank you for what you're doing in the world of drag racing, and in particular for Factory Stock. It's a great class. It deserves all the support it can get. If we can help Factory Stock in some way beyond just the show, let us know. Thank you for the time, man.
We'll do. Thank you, guys.
Hey,
appreciate it.
Before you go, we're gonna schedule this in advance, Lee. After you and Maddie do you guys' runs, let us know, and we'll bring you guys both back on the show and kind of talk about it. People want to know. People are interested. Sure. She's already getting a lot of support, so might as well do that. So
we will.
Let us know after
we get through these next few weeks are a bit busy with everything we got going on. We'll get Maddie stood up and get her heading in the right direction, and we'll jump back on and talk to you guys. Sometime after the first week or so of March.
Sounds good. Works. Sounds good. Thank you, Dave.
You got it, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
Awesome. Man, you got to like what he is doing in the world of drag racing. It is so cool and refreshing to hear.
It's, in the words of the water boy, Lee, that's what we call high quality H2O.
Right.
I mean, that's just, it's good stuff, right? I mean, it's like you said, it's refreshing. It's new. It doesn't seem like it stops. Every time we talk to him, he's got something else that he's in, and like you said, A fuel, and he's thinking of this and he's thinking of that. That's how we continue to make this sport grow, is have partnerships and have deals, like that. And people that aren't willing to, just settle for what is, and they want more. And I mean, how could you not be satisfied with that?
Bingo. Man, look, I have enjoyed the show tonight. Good to have you on, as always, as co-host. It's good to have Darren. Great to have Larry Dixon, Dave Davies on as guests tonight. And each and every one of you in the comment section, thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Let us know where you are commenting and watching from. Hit that like button. Hit the share button as we shut it down. Sam, I'm going to let you shut it down. But at the end, we're going to play a certain break to close it, because Dave Davies definitely is the peak performer this week in drag racing.
Well, I agree with you, Lee. Lee, thank you for letting me start the show, and thank you for letting me end the show. To all you guys out there that watch every week, we cannot do this without you guys. So thanks for the thumbs up, the likes, the shares. We really appreciate that. To Bobby, again, congratulations on your award that you'll be receiving with the North Dakota Drag Racing Association. So congratulations to that. To my brother from another mother, Monday Morning Racer, Lee Craft. I appreciate you for coming on here and yakking it up. To Darren Williams, Hot Rod ENT, thanks for coming on here. Man, you made it. Mama said you made it. You made it. To you guys, I'm Slam and Sam, Outlaw Performance ENT. Till next week, you guys keep the pedal to the metal, and God bless.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.